Mondragon Corporation. The Mondragon Corporation is a corporation and federation of worker cooperatives based in the Basque region of Spain. It was founded in the town of Mondragon in 1956 by José María Arizmendiarrieta and a group of his students at a technical college he founded. Its first product was paraffin heaters. It is the seventh largest Spanish company in terms of asset turnover and the leading business group in the Basque Country. At the end of 2016, it employed 74,117 people in 257 companies and organizations in 4 areas of activity: finance, industry, retail, and knowledge. By 2019, 81,517 people were employed. Mondragon cooperatives operate in accordance with the Statement on the Cooperative Identity maintained by the International Co-operative Alliance. History. In 1941, a young Catholic priest, José María Arizmendiarrieta, settled in Mondragon, a town with a population of 7,000 that had not yet recovered from the poverty, hunger, exile, and tension of the Spanish Civil War. In 1943, Arizmendiarrieta established a technical college which became a training ground for managers, engineers, and skilled labor for local companies and primarily for the cooperatives. Arizmendiarrieta spent a number of years educating young people about a form of humanism based on solidarity and participation in harmony with Catholic social teaching and the importance of acquiring the necessary technical knowledge before creating the first cooperative. In 1955, he selected 5 young people to establish the first company of the cooperative and industrial beginning of the Mondragon Corporation. The company was called Tollers Ulgar, an acronym derived from the surnames of Uzatara, Larinaga, Garnaguesha or Michia, and Ortube, known today as Fager Electrodomesticos. In the first 15 years, many cooperatives were established, thanks to the autarky of the market and the awakening of the Spanish economy. During these years, also with the encouragement of Don José María Arizmendiarrieta, the Caja Laboral 1959 and the social welfare body Lagun Arrow 1966 were established that played a key role. The first local group was created, Ularco. In 1969, Eroski was founded by merging 10 small local consumer cooperatives. During the next 20 years, from 1970 to 1990, the dynamic continued, with a strong increase in new cooperatives promoted by Caja Laboral's business division, the promotion of cooperative associations, the formation of local groups, and the founding of the Ikerlin Research Center in 1974. With Spain scheduled to join the European Economic Community in 1986, it was decided in 1984 to establish the Mondragon Cooperative Group, the forerunner of the current corporation. In-service training for managers was strengthened by creating Otalora, dedicated to training and the dissemination of cooperatives. The group consisted of 23,130 workers at the end of 1990. On the international stage, the aim was to respond to growing globalization, expanding abroad by establishing production plants in a number of countries. The first was the Coprasai plant in Mexico in 1990, followed by many others, up to 73 by the end of 2008 and 122 at the end of 2013. The goals were to increase competitiveness and market share, bring component supply closer to customers' plants, especially in the automotive and domestic appliance sectors, and to strengthen employment in the Basque Country by promoting exports of cooperatives' products by means of new platforms. In October 2009, the United Steelworkers announced an agreement with Mondragon to create worker cooperatives in the United States. On 26 March 2012, the Aswan Mondragon and the Ohio Employee Ownership Center OAC announced their detailed union co-op model. The industrial sector ended 2012 with a new record of €4 billion in international sales, beating sales figures from before the financial crisis of 2007-2008. Mondragon opened 11 new production subsidiaries. International sales that year accounted for 69% of all sales, a 26% increase from 2009 to 2012, and with 14,000 employees abroad. Mondragon's share in the BRIC markets increased to 20% compared to the previous year. In 2013, international sales grew by 6.7% and accounted for 71.1% of total sales. On 16 October 2013, domestic appliance company Fagor Electrodomésticos filed for bankruptcy under Spanish law to renegotiate EU-relevant billion of debt after suffering heavy losses during the Eurocracy's putting 5,000. This was followed by the bankruptcy of the whole Fagor Group on 6 November 2013. In July 2014, Fagor was bought by Catalonian company Cota for €42.5 million. Cota pledged to create 705 direct jobs in the Basque Country and to continue the brand names Fagor, Edessa, Asps, and Splendid. Business culture. Mondragon cooperatives are united by a humanist concept of business, a philosophy of participation and solidarity, and a shared business culture. The culture is rooted in a shared mission and a number of principles, corporate values, and business policies. Over the years, these links have been embodied in a series of operating rules approved on a majority basis by the cooperative congresses, which regulate the activity of the governing bodies of the Corporation Standing Committee, General Council, the grassroots cooperatives, and the divisions they belong to, from the organizational, institutional, and economic points of view. This framework of business culture has been structured based on a common culture derived from the 10 basic cooperative principles, in which Mondragon is rooted: open admission, democratic organization, the sovereignty of labor, instrumental and subordinate nature of capital, participatory management, payment solidarity, intercooperation, social. This philosophy is complemented by 4 corporate values: cooperation, acting as owners and protagonists, participation, which takes shape as a commitment to management, social responsibility by means of the distribution of wealth based on solidarity, and innovation, focusing on constant renewal in all areas. This business culture translates into compliance with a number of basic objectives: customer focus, development, innovation, profitability, people in cooperation, and involvement in the community, and general policies approved by the Cooperative Congress, which are taken on board at all the corporation's organizational levels and incorporated into the 4-year wage regulation. At Mondragon, there are agreed-upon wage ratios between executive work and field or factory work which earns a minimum wage. These ratios range from 3:1 to 9:1 in different cooperatives and average 5:1. That is, the general manager of an average Mondragon cooperative earns no more than 5 times as much as the theoretical minimum wage paid in their cooperative. For most workers, this ratio is smaller because there are few Mondragon worker owners that earn minimum wages, because most jobs are somewhat specialized and are classified at higher wage levels. The wage ratio of a cooperative is decided periodically by its worker owners through a democratic vote. Compared to similar jobs at local industries, Mondragon managers' wages are considerably lower, as some companies pay their best paid managers hundreds of times more than the lowest paid employee of the company, and equivalent for middle management, technical and professional levels. Lower wage levels are on average 13% higher than similar jobs at local businesses. Spain's progressive tax rate further reduces any disparity in pay. These comparatively low wages can make it very difficult to recruit managers from investor-owned firms. Business sectors. Mondragon Corporation operates in 4 areas: finance, industry, retail, and knowledge, with the latter distinguishing Mondragon from other business groups. In 2013, the corporation posted a total revenue of over €12 billion, roughly $16 billion, and employed 74,061 workers, making it Spain's 4th largest industrial and 10th largest financial group. Finance. This area includes the banking business of Laboral Cuxa, the insurance company Seguros Lagan Arrow, and the voluntary social welfare body Lagan Arrow, which had an asset fund totaling €5,566 million at the end of 2014. The yield obtained from this fund is used to cover long-term retirement, widowhood, and invalidity benefits, complementary to those offered by the Spanish Social Security system. Industry. The corporation's companies manufacture consumer goods, capital goods, industrial components, products, and systems for construction and services. The latter includes very diverse business groups such as Abantail, Adaptive Design Optimization, Alecap Engineering Training, Alcaeus Consultors, attorneys, etc., Alcaeus Ingenieria, architects and engineers, MCC Telecom, telecommunication engineering, Mondragon Lingua Translation and Language Schools, Mondragon Systems, automation, industrial computing and telecommunications. Andone, turnkey projects in the energy and environmental sector. In the leisure and sports area, it manufactures Orbia bicycles, exercise equipment, and items for camping, garden, and beach. In capital goods, Mondragon posted a turnover of €976 million in 2009 and is the leading Spanish manufacturer of machining Danabet Group. These machines are complemented by automation and control products for machine tools, packaging machinery, machinery for automating assembly processes and processing wood, forklift trucks, electric transformers, integrated equipment for the catering industry, cold stores, and refrigeration equipment. Specifically focusing on the automotive sector, the corporation also manufactures a wide variety of dies, molds, and tooling for casting iron and aluminium, and occupies a leading position in machinery for the casting sector. In industrial components, Mondragon posted a turnover of €1.5 billion in 2009, a sector in which it operates as an integrated supplier for the leading car manufacturers, offering from the design and development of a part to the industrialization and supply of components and assemblies. It has different business units such as brakes, axles, suspension, transmission, engines, aluminium wheel rims, fluid conduction, and other internal and external vehicle components. It also produces components for the main domestic appliance manufacturers in 3 business areas: white goods, home comfort, and electronics. And it manufactures flanges and pipe accessories for processing oil, gas, petrochemical plants, and power generation, copper and aluminium electrical conductors, and components for conveyors. In construction, sales totaled €974 million in 2009. Mondragon has constructed buildings and important infrastructure projects. It designs and builds large metallic urso, laminated wood, and prefabricated concrete structures, supplies prefabricated parts in polymer concrete, offers solutions for formwork and structures Ulma Group, as well as public works machinery and the industrialization of the construction process, including engineering and assembly services. The Orona Group produces elevators. In services to business, sales totaled €248 million in 2008, including business consultancy services, architecture and engineering, property consulting, design and innovation, Alcaeus Group, systems engineering for electromechanical installations, and integrated logistics engineering. It also offers a modern language service, manufactures educational equipment, and provides graphic arts services McGraphics S. Coop. In 2013, 71.1% of turnover came from international sales. Sales resulting from the export of products abroad and production generated in the 122 subsidiaries located in several different countries: China 15, France 17, Poland 8, Czech Republic 7, Mexico 8, Brazil 5, Germany 4, Italy 4, United Kingdom 3, Romania 3. Overall, in 2013, these 122 plants provided work for more than 11,000 people. The corporate industrial park in Kunshan, close to Shanghai, houses 7 subsidiaries. In 2012, it opened 11 new subsidiaries abroad. employing around 14,000 people. Its international sales that year marked a record number of 69% of its total sales, EUR 5.8 billion, with a 2% fall compared to the previous year. Mondragon also participated in 91 international R&D projects. In 2014, the industrial cooperatives created 1,000 jobs, and internationalization continued with 125 production subsidiaries abroad, 3 more than the year before. Retail. Mondragon runs Eroski, one of the leading retail groups all over Spain and in southern France, and maintains close contacts with the French group Les Mousquetaires and the German retailer Adecco, with whom it set up the Allides International Purchasing Group in 2002. The worker owners and consumer members participate in the cooperative's decision-making bodies and management of Eroski. At the end of 2013, Eroski posted a turnover of EUR 6.6 billion, operating 2.69 stores made up of 90 Eroski hypermarkets, 1211 Eroski/Center, Caprabo, Eroski/City, Alaprox, Familia, Onda and Cash and Carry supermarkets, 155 branches. In southern France, Eroski had 4 hypermarkets, 16 supermarkets, and 17 petrol stations, and 4 perfume stores in Andorra. Retail includes the food group Ercup for catering, cleaning, stock breeding, and horticulture, with Ozo Lagun, a cooperative in group catering and cleaning of buildings and premises, and integrated service in the health sector. In 2008, worker members voted to expand the cooperative transformation to the retail group as a whole, turning subsidiaries into cooperatives and making salaried workers worker members. Knowledge. This area has a dual focus: education, training, and innovation, which have both been key elements in the development of the corporation. Training education is mainly linked to the dynamism of Mondragon University, the significant role that Politniki Castilla Tesori Arizmendia Costola and Lee Artabai Ecostetsia play in their respective areas, and the activity of the Management and Cooperative Development Center Ovalora. Mondragon University is a cooperative university which combines the development of knowledge, skills, and values and maintains close relations with business, especially Mondragon cooperatives. Technological innovation is generated through the cooperative's own R&D departments, the Corporate Science and Technology Plan, the corporation's 12 technology centers, and the Garea Innovation Park. The 15 technology centers play a fundamental role in the development of the sectors of focus. In 2009, they employed 742 people and had a budget of EUR 53.7 million. In 2013, its network of technology centers and R&D units provided employment for 1,700 people, and the commitment to R&D and I matters amounted to 136 million euros, 8.5% of added value. Mondragon has 479 families of patents for inventions, which accounts for 25% patents in the Basque Country, participating in more than 30 R&D cooperation projects at the European level. Reactions. In 2012, Richard D. Wolff, an American professor of economics, hailed the Mondragon set of enterprises, including the good wages it provides for employees, the empowerment of ordinary workers in decision-making, and the measure of equality for female workers, as a major success, and cited it as a working model of an alternative to the capitalist mode. In an April 2012 interview, Noam Chomsky said that while Mondragon offers an alternative to capitalism, it was still embedded in a capitalist system which limits Mondragon's decisions. Take the most advanced case, Mondragon. It's worker-owned, it's not worker-managed, although the management does come from the workforce often, but it's in a market system, and they still exploit workers in South America, and they do things that are harmful to the society as a whole, and they have no choice. If you're in a system where you must make a profit in order to survive, you're compelled to ignore negative externalities, effects on others. Vicente Navarro wrote that from a business perspective, Mondragon is successful in matching efficiency with solidarity and democracy. However, he writes that the number of employees who are not owners has increased more rapidly than worker owners, to a point that in some companies, for example in the supermarket chains owned by Mondragon, the first is a much larger group than the second. In Navarro's view, this establishes a two-tier system, for example, in terms of whom to save in the case the company collapses. In the collapse of Fagor, the relocation of employees to other companies belonging to Mondragon favored those who were worker owners, which may affect labor relations. Actually, one of the successes of Mondragon was its ability to create a sense of identity among the workers within the company, encouraging an environment of solidarity and collegiality among them, a feeling that also extended, although to a much lesser degree, to non-worker owners. The connection felt by the latter group has somewhat weakened, however, exposing a vulnerable point for the cooperative. The Mondragon system is one of 4 case studies analyzed in Capital and the Debt Trap, which summarized evidence claiming that cooperatives tend to last longer and are less susceptible to perverse incentives and other problems of organizational governance than more traditionally managed organizations. The founders of Cooperation Jackson, a network of worker cooperatives in Jackson, Mississippi in the United States, cite Mondragon as a key inspiration. Mondragon in fiction. In 2312, a science fiction novel by Kim Stanley Robinson, the Mondragon Corporation has evolved into a planned economy system called the Mondragon Accord. The Mondragon Accord is controlled by means of a network of AI running on quantum computers and rules large parts of the solar system, including Mercury and most of the moons of the gas giants. Only part of Earth and its colonies in space retain remnants of capitalist economies, while Mars has withdrawn from the Accord in the century preceding the story. The Mondragon Corporation already appeared in Robinson's earlier Mars trilogy as one of the Terran groups involved in the colonization and terraforming of Mars. The coup is also portrayed as the inspiration of both the Bogdanovist movement and the libertarian-leaning Praxis Corporation, 2 of the main forces leading the revolution for the independence of Mars. In Robinson's book The Ministry for the Future, the Mondragon Corporation is introduced in Chapter 58 as a model for a future, post-capitalist, cooperative economy.